Hey there, welcome to the Bernie Miklasz Show here on STL Sports Central, otherwise known as the Bernie Show. I'm Bernie, hi. We're presented by DraftKings. The crown is yours. I am Bernie Miklasz. I've been talk about St. Louis area sports since 1985. Here on STL Sports Central, I do 5 videos and write 5 columns each week. And I join my friend, Randy Carricker, on his morning show once a week here on our fantastic site. You can catch me on KMOX a lot. I also do a weekly Cardinals podcast, Seeing Red, with my friend Will Leach, and I'm up to some other stuff as well. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and while you're at it, please hit the like button. Thank you very much. Today's topic, Albert Pujols. Is he about to become the new manager of the Los Angeles Angels, or would he consider one of the other available jobs? And if so, are the Cardinals making a mistake by not hiring Albert Pujols themselves to take over for Oli Marmol? I know this is a juicy topic. I know people are buzzing about it. But sorry to let many of you down, but the answer is an easy call for me. The Cardinals already have a manager, and they have committed to Oli Marmol for 2026. And Oli Marmol will manage the Cardinals in 2026. And that is all there is to it. The decision was made by the new baseball president of operations, Chaim Bloom, months ago during the Cardinals regular season. The idea that Bloom would renege on that and then all of a sudden double-cross Marmol after announcing this week publicly that Marmol would be his manager, that would not only be preposterous, it would be extremely dishonorable. And anyone who doesn't understand this is, I think, kind of oblivious to reality, and maybe even a little oblivious to the concept of integrity. I know some folks think it would be fine for Chaim Bloom in his first act as the new boss to basically stab Marmol in the back. I'm sorry, but this isn't one of those garbage reality shows that are not reality shows at all. They're just a bunch of phonies play acting for the enjoyment of the masses. And baseball teams aren't operated by the residents of the lunatic fringe element on some of these social media fever swamps, folks who would fire any manager who has a bad game at any time. Teams would have like 50 managers a year if you left it up to the fever swamp people. But anyway, it would be a vicious flip-flop by Bloom. And what would it do for Bloom's credibility going forward? Well, that credibility would be pretty much shot or certainly damaged by a substantial amount. And after betraying Marmol, Blue's attempt to hire some of the smart baseball people out there for jobs in the front office, jobs in the player development system, or maybe even his choice for general manager, or his attempt to recruit free agents. Those efforts would be a hell of a lot more difficult, because if Bloom would do something so awful to Marmol after hiring him and also announcing that he was bringing him back, and then he immediately goes the other way and throws the dagger at Marmol to get him out of the way, how in the world could Chaim Bloom ever be trusted if he's telling you, I want you to do this job, I want to hire you, here's how it's going to work, oh, we're excited. And then boom, out comes the dagger. How could anyone ever believe a word he says? And yeah, this matters. Nothing I can say here, listen, I'm a big boy, nothing I can say here will appease or please the Oli haters. They are dug in on the idea that he's a terrible manager and that's all there is to it. These people are not capable of being objective, in my experience, not at all. And it's important for neutral observers to understand that. After all, when I think about the Oli haters, I guess one way to put it is that some of their ancestors also wanted to fire Tony Larussa all the time. Especially he committed the unforgivable sins of having long hair and spending the offseason with his family in Northern California. Larussa was ripped all the time, and that includes someone renting out a plane to fly overhead at Roger Dean Stadium in Jupiter, Florida. I mentioned this the other day, just to recap. It was a banner that said something like, save the Cardinals, fire Larussa. Yeah. So I've been through this before, and the Oli haters refuse to acknowledge that he does anything well, including what is obviously his excellent work in managing a bullpen, something even though they'll reject that and push back on that, even though it's factually proven many times over by overwhelming evidence. The facts don't matter. They hate the man. That's it. So they deny. John Mozeliak hired Marmol. So in the minds of the haters, this makes Oli worthless, and there are other reasons why they hate him, and there's other reasons that, none of them make sense. It's as simple as that. These are not complicated people. There's a personal animosity in play here that is clearly obvious and clearly irrational, and it's not based on any substance. Yeah, the 2023 season was a lost cause. In 2022, Oli Marmol won the Central Division title. He won 93 games, went out early in the playoffs. Not the first time it's ever happened to a manager, even though he had a big role in the demise of the Cardinals in that series in game one. But in 2023, it was just a lost cause. And Marmol, after a good first season, he was gobsmacked by the sudden blast of failure, negativity, and becoming the town's easy target punching bag. They could basically land punches on Mozeliak and Bill DeWitt Jr. by taking the easiest shots of all, just punch after punch after punch, because Oli Marmol's out there front and center. And of course, he's to blame for anything bad that happens. And anything good that happens, give him credit? No, hell no, never would happen. Not with these people. The last two seasons, and I mentioned this earlier this week, I'm going to go right back to it. The last two seasons, based on run differential and other underlying metrics, the Cardinals should have won. They should have won 11 more games than they actually did. He actually overachieves. I got that wrong. I apologize. Cardinals should have lost 11 more games than they did because of his ability to maneuver the bullpen and have a superb winning percentage when the Cardinals even had a one-run lead in the late innings, which was why they also had a .561 winning percentage in one-run games over the last 2 years. They outperformed everything we know about projections based on real factors. Yet there are people out there, and I hear from them all the time, that would insist that when it comes to running a bullpen, Oli Marmol is the village idiot. The village idiots are the people that say that. Bloom has taken note of all of this in terms of Marmol's strengths, and you have to understand they're going into a rebuilding. It's a little different. The job parameters are different. The responsibilities are different. They're not the same as if you got a team that's poised to go to the playoffs, a team that you think can win the World Series or whatever. But in terms of where the Cardinals are and the way Bloom is going to run things and how they need to handle things, and there's got to be a synchronization between the baseball boss and the manager, because they got to be on the same page. And they have to understand what the objectives are, and they both have to simultaneously, or they have to collaborate on achieving those objectives. That's just the way it is. That's how it works in the real world. And they have established a meaningful relationship in terms of their work, and even on a personal level. They're comfortable with each other. They're full of mutual respect. They understand each other. And they are aligned philosophically. They have an open and honest discussions, and that's how it's supposed to work. Bloom really wants to know what Marmol's views are on things, and Marmol wants to know what Bloom thinks. And then they sort of go back and forth and come to an agreement. That's the way managing works in the year 2025. Bloom fully believes Marmol understands the responsibilities of managing a team that's rebuilding. And Bloom, who has studied everything about the Cardinals the last year and a half, 2 years, he's been impressed by Marmol's leadership and his resilience and the way his players respect him and they play hard for him and they have comeback after comeback after comeback win. And the feedback that Bloom personally received from players about Marmol was yet another positive. So listen, I want to say this because I'm doing a lot of fussing again, but this stuff just galls me. I can't let it go easily. Let me say this. Most Cardinals fans are reasonable and try hard to be fair. But once again, I must point out the blatant and comical hypocrisy of the people who have spent the last 3 years savaging John Mozeliak for his horrendous roster construction, his awful payroll mistakes, his ineffective half measure, stuck in the middle steps, and his obvious role in allowing the once great Cardinals player development system to completely fall apart. So therefore, I find it humorous that these people who have savaged Bill DeWitt for not spending enough money to win, and savaging Mo for ruining the product and ruining the roster, but yet the people that scream at DeWitt, oh, he doesn't spend enough. He's cheap. He's not committed. And yet these same people, for some reason, continue to overlook the fact that the Cardinals have wasted massive sums of money on poor personnel decisions, and they continue to be embarrassed by a Brewers franchise that plays in the smallest market in the major leagues, and a Brewers franchise that has spent more than $3 million less on payroll than the Cardinals since 2018. And yet, the people that say, to hell with DeWitt, to hell with Mozeliak, they're terrible, they're awful, we can't win with them, they're brutal. They're the same people that then pivot and say, hey, Oli, get us to the promised land. It's up. You got to get us to the promised land or you're a terrible manager. If the president of baseball operations and the team owner are failures, as many of you say, so bad that some of you or many of you have been shrieking for Mozeliak to be fired for years and shrieking to DeWitt to sell the franchise. Yet, if Oli Marmol doesn't make the playoffs, with this bad team that the owner, in your eyes, the owner and the president of baseball operations put together, he's expected to get this mess to the promised land. And if he doesn't, it's like, sorry, no excuses. I mean, there is a level of being disconnected from reality that it's almost breathtaking, but it is what it is, which is ludicrous. So why would anyone expect Oli Marmol or any other manager to win more games when he's at the mercy of this terrible ownership management team that has destroyed the franchise? That some of you constantly attack for being total failures. But the manager was supposed to thrive? Seriously, do you realize how nutso that is? I'm hollering, but I think it's actually funny. It's both sad and funny and frustrating that people could be just so contradictory in their thoughts. And I'm going to say this again because I love to say it all the time because I think it's funny that when I say it, because people just, I didn't hear that. No, that's not right. No, now Bernie's got that wrong. So no, I don't have anything to say on that. Oli Marmol won more games in his first 4 seasons as the Cardinals manager than Tony La Russa won in his first 4 seasons as the Cardinals manager, even though TLR had a lot more talent to work with, and even though ownership was highly motivated to spend and bring in any players that he wanted, and even though TLR had already managed 19 major league seasons that included leading 2 different franchises to the playoffs, winning 2 pennants and a World Series. In his first 4 seasons as the Cardinals manager, Tony La Russa received Manager of the Year votes in 1 season, 1996. One of his first 4 seasons, he got a Manager of the Year vote. Didn't win it, but he was on the list of others who got votes. One time in his first 4 years. In Oli Marmol's first 4 seasons as the Cardinals manager, he received Manager of the Year votes in two seasons. Not one, but 2. All right, I'm being a donkey. I apologize. Marmol made the playoffs one time in his first 4 seasons. So did Larussa. Marmol had losing records in 2 of his first 4 seasons. So did Marmol. Difference is, one guy had more talent than the other. If Marmol is the worst manager in baseball history or whatever it is, some people think, well, why did his teams have a .502 winning percentage in his first 4 seasons when Larussa's teams had a .493 winning percentage in his first 4 seasons? Could you answer that for me? Could you answer that? No, I didn't think so. Thanks anyway. The anti-Marmol bias is laughable, and this is coming from a guy who has frequently criticized Oli Marmol over the last 4 years, but it's always based on baseball decisions. It's not based on any kind of personal animus. And while I believe Albert Pujols will be a fantastic big league manager, this is the wrong time for it to happen here. With Marmol in place and having established a good relationship with Bloom and earning Bloom's trust, there would only be one reason to fire Oli Marmol at this time and hire Albert Pujols right now. It would be nothing more than a cheap, blatant money grab by ownership, a cynical ploy to get people to buy more tickets. An obvious, and I would say devious, decision that basically is there only to pander to the fans and to get them to like throw their money back in and come to the ballpark again. So if all the DeWitt's worried about was money and getting your ticket revenue, they would be fiendish enough to do this as soon as Chaim Bloom starts the job. Oh, by the way, now Chaim, even though you announced Marmol's back, you got to fire him right now. We got to sell them tickets. But they're not going to do that. They do have, believe it or not, more honor than that. It's not going to happen. They're not going to fire Oli Marmol to sell tickets. And it ain't going to happen. The DeWitts are going to try to ride it out, and they're going to try to earn respect in other ways. Like putting a winning team on the field or having Chaim Bloom rebuild it the way it needs to be rebuilt and have it pay off. And if the DeWitts, so the people that think that, hey, you think this could happen? Go get some sleep. It ain't going to happen, okay? Go take a nap. Cool your brain. And if the DeWitts did that, which they won't, they would completely undermine Chaim Bloom and instantly wreck his credibility before the man has even had a chance to get into his first full week or 2 as the president of baseball operations. The DeWitts have made mistakes, and they have neglected to take care of some of their business. But overall, the 30 years of ownership have been very, very good, outstanding. Over 30 years, the Cardinals are a top 5 team in the majors. The last 3 seasons were crap. It happens to the best of them, which is something I've pointed out a million times as terms of this ain't the only baseball market where good teams suddenly go bad and they have to regroup, and sometimes it takes a while and you go missing from the playoffs, like the Toronto Blue Jays 20 straight years after they won 2 World Series in a row. The DeWitts have made mistakes, but harpooning Bloom and ruining his reputation as he begins his job, in other words, turning him into some lackey, some clown who they don't respect, and they're just going to push him around. It would be the ultimate example of crass buffoonery, and it would make the DeWitts look like panic-stricken, desperate idiots, basically. When I return, so it ain't going to happen. Like I said, take a nap, all right? When I would run around as a kid and I was like overheated and making noise, and you know how little kids are running around, they run into walls, they knock things over, they get hurt. My Polish grandmother used to holler at me in Polish, although I got to understand what she was saying. She'd basically say, Bernie, go to bed. Go to bed. Go to bed. I don't want to see you. Go to bed. You need to calm down. Go to bed. You're acting crazy. I say that to you, my friends, those of you who still think this is going to happen. Pujols to St. Louis now. When I return for my second segment, please stick with me, even if I've ticked you off. I don't think you want mamby-pamby opinions here, do you? When I return for my second segment of the Bernie Show, I'm going to talk about Pujols and the idea that he's the favorite to land the Angels job, which scares me on his behalf. And I also will explain and remind everyone why the Angels basically can call the shots here. Be careful, Albert. Be very careful. But first, some awesome news from DraftKings Sportsbook. Missouri, get ready. The wait is over because here it comes. DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is coming soon to the Show Me State, which will be renamed, at least by me, as the Show Me the Money State. And you can sign up today and get a head start. In other words, get yourself organized so you'll be ready to go on December the 1st when DraftKings Sportsbook goes live in our state. New Missouri customers can get $300 in bonus bets when we launch on December the 1st. So download now and place a $5 bet when DraftKings Sportsbook does go live on the 1st of December. You'll be all set to go. DraftKings Sportsbook brings everything you need to elevate your game day, including live in-game betting, lightning fast payouts, endless ways to get in on the action, all right from your phone, easy peasy. And when we officially go live in Missouri on December the 1st, you're going to be betting with the Sportsbook app that is trusted by millions because it's safe, it's secure, you got fast money withdrawals, and a lot of other things that you will like. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the code STL Sports to grab $300 in bonus bets, which is a $5 bet when we go live on December the 1st. $5, as I like to say, that's like a cup of pumpkin spice latte, not even a good cup of that. Not that I drink it, a little bit in October. Anyway, $5 bet, you get $300 in bonus bets starting December 1st. That's code STL Sports in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Disclaimer, got to do this. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. You must be 21 plus, physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after being issued. Excludes customers who redeem pre-launch sign-up offer. Terms are at sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. All right. Thank you, DraftKings, and thank you all for listening. Welcome back to the second segment of Thursday's Bernie Show here on STL Sports Central. Please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel and to hit that like button. And by all means, comment and tell me off if you want. That's all right. If I can tell you off, you can tell me off, and I'm not going to get in the way there in the comment section by, trying to start rock fights. You should just have a free voice to say what you want. Let's get this part out of the way. Number one, the Athletic and other informed media report that Pujols is, in fact, a strong favorite to be the Angels' choice for the next manager. It doesn't mean that it's a done deal, but he is the favorite, and he is said to be the choice of the owner, the clear choice of the owner, Arte Moreno. Number two, Pujols has an existing personal services contract with the Angels and their impulsive and temperamental owner, Arte Moreno. That contract was an add-on to the 10-year, $240 million free agent contract that Pujols signed with the Angels after he left the Cardinals weeks after the Cards won the 2011 World Series. Number three, if the Angels are determined to choose Pujols as the manager, and Arte Moreno wants him as the manager, why in the hell would anyone think that Arte Moreno would relent and just say, "Oh, forget about that personal services contract. Oh, you're under contract to us, but forget about that. You go do what you want." You think Arte Moreno? Are you aware of the way this man operates? Are you aware of his reputation? Oh, I'll fill you in here in a minute. But why would anyone think that Arte Moreno would relent on that personal services contract so Pujols could go to the Cardinals or any other team? Because if he wants to hire him, his attitude is like, well, he's already under contract, so there's nothing to talk about here. And Moreno, again, he is making the decision to hire him. Can something be worked out? Something always can be worked out, but that's not really the point. Moreno's got this thing under wraps in terms of being able to control Pujols. if he wants to. I have another important question. I think it's actually a more pertinent question. I love Albert Pujols. Why would Albert Pujols want the Angels job? It doesn't matter that he worked there, he played there. If he wants to be a manager, and I think he'll be a really good one, there are 6 managers. As I record this, something may have happened in the last 30 minutes or something, but as of the time that I speak to you, there are 6 managerial openings right now. Braves, Angels, Twins, Giants, Rangers, and Nationals. And 3 more jobs could open at any time: Orioles, Rockies, or Astros. One thing that I will share with you, there's a lot of people all across the country, baseball fans. As soon as the Giants fired their manager and the Rangers, in effect, fired Bruce Bochy, it's like, oh, well, he'll go back to the Giants. Oh, he'll go back to the Giants. So that job's open because Buster Posey runs the baseball operation. He told reporters yesterday that Bochy coming back to San Francisco ain't going to happen. So forget that one. That's not a factor. Levi Weaver of The Athletic, really good baseball writer, he looked at all the openings or potential openings for managers, and he put the Angels at the bottom of the list. He selected it as the worst available job, even potential job. That's right. I mean, he actually has it worse than the Rockies job. My friend Gabe Locks of USA Today did the same. He had the Angels job at the bottom. It is a terrible stink bomb of a job. It is a thankless job. And it's probably going to cause, if nothing else, maybe more, it's going to cause blood pressure issues for anyone who imagines that mess. Moreno is a notorious meddler. He calls the shots. He doesn't care what his own general manager thinks. He doesn't care what his manager thinks. He's going to bull rush everybody and stomp his way into doing what he wants. He shows no respect to his people that work for him in the baseball department. He calls the shots, and because of that, he has made some truly incompetent and incomprehensible free agent moves, and he has made some utterly foolish moves, as he did this past summer, making a series of trades at the trade deadline, even though the Angels had no chance to make the playoffs. Arte Moreno has destroyed the credibility of multiple general managers who have tried to work for him because he overrules them, he bullies them, he embarrasses them, makes them look like hapless, hopeless little patsies. World Series winning Angels manager Mike Scioscia got fired. He was replaced after the 2018 season by Brad Ausmus, who was later replaced by Joe Madden, who was later replaced by Phil Nevin, who was later replaced by Ron Washington. Ron Washington, as you might recall, he took a leave this past season to deal with a health crisis, a serious health crisis, but he did want to return in 2026. And even though Ron Washington, has told reporters in recent days that he knew that he wasn't going to be brought back, but he wanted to talk to Arte Moreno about it, at least have a discussion and convey his desire to return. Moreno's reaction: never returned Ron Washington's phone call. Classy. In recent news, away from the actual playing of the game, Arte Moreno failed to comply with a court-ordered subpoena related to the wrongful death lawsuit filed by the family of the late Angels pitcher Tyler Skaggs, who died of a drug overdose. A court referee ruled in January 2025 that Moreno and team chairman Dennis Kuhl had not provided documents for discovery in this civil case. The Skaggs family alleges that the Angels organization was aware of the rampant illegal drug use within the team, and they looked the other way, and that led to Skaggs dying of an overdose at a terribly young age. The suit alleges that the Angels allowed former team communications manager Eric Kay, access to Angels players to sell them drugs, those who wanted drugs. And Kay is now serving a pretty lengthy prison term because of that. Moreno failed to turn over court-ordered materials from his personal email and cell phone as required by this subpoena. Pujols is a man of character. He is a man of honor. He is a wonderful human being. Why would he want to work for this sleazeball Moreno? I mean, Albert can do what he wants. I'll support him. But why would you want to work for this scuzz, right? Moreno's franchise, and then there's this. Moreno's franchise hasn't won a postseason game since 2009. Yeah, believe it or not. There are teams that have had longer droughts than Bill DeWitt's team. Hard to believe, ain't it? The Halos have made the playoffs one time over the last 16 seasons. That came in 2014 when a team led by Albert Pujols and Mike Trout were swept by the Royals in the division round. Mike Trout, arguably for a long time the greatest player in the game at the time, never won a postseason game as an Angel. Only went to one postseason game. His entire postseason career, 3 games. Mike Trout, a generational talent. Going into 2026, the Angels will try to perfume the stench of having 10 straight losing seasons from 2016 through 2025. This is a bad team with a bad owner and a bad scene. Since Pujols signed with the Angels as a player beginning in the 2012 season, Anaheim's got a .480 winning percentage. It never got better with them. It never got much better with Mike Trout. And Pujols was so fed up by the craziness out there that in 2021, later in June, I think it was, he asked the Angels to release him. Just release me, because it was the final year of his contract. And they did. So he finished his career the rest of 2021 in good form with the Dodgers. And then he came to the Cardinals for the farewell season in 2022. And after like the first couple cold months, he was unbelievable. And he ended up wearing the Cardinal uniform when he reached 700 home runs in his career. So I just don't know. I'm not going to criticize Pujols if he takes the job. I'm not. It's his life. It's his career. It's his choice. But why? But I'm saying, I got to be honest and say, I don't understand why he would want to go back into that cesspool of a franchise when there are other options. Then you got the status of the Angels general manager, Perry. I always say his name wrong. You have to forgive me. What is it? Mine is Zion or something. I'm embarrassed. I'm an idiot. Forgive me. Let's just say their general manager. He's got a one year remaining on his contract. Zian does. Might as well continue to embarrass myself. But anyway, multiple media outlets report that even if the GM stays in the job for 2026, he will not have the authority to hire the new manager. He's basically out of the loop on that because Moreno is the team's GM. He is the guy that gave out, in my opinion, the worst contract free agency in the history of baseball. Given that, what was it, $236 million to Anthony Rendon. He's played, and I'm exaggerating, but not by much. He's played in about 15 games because he has injuries. They're injuries. Okay, so it doesn't have anything to do with his lack of desire to play and just collect the money, right? Oh, I wouldn't say that about anybody. Anyway, he wants to hire the manager. He continues to fire managers. He continues to fire GMs because that way, when he fires the manager, the GM, Arte Moreno can transfer the blame away from him, the owner. So why in the world would anybody who's got the choices go to that awful job? Speaking of the challenges that comes with the Angels job and having to deal with everything, including talent, Ron Washington recently said this to a reporter, and I'm actually going to clean it up a little bit. Quote, sometimes you got to make chicken salad out of chicken sheet. That's pretty much been the story for about 16 seasons in Anaheim. Other critics have pointed out to the environment of chaos and dysfunction created by the maniacal and egotistical Moreno. Albert Pujols can do better, either now or in the future. I think he's already shown that he's got a feel for it. His player, when he managed the Escogido franchise to the Dominican Winter League Championship and then They went from there to the Caribbean World Series title last offseason. His players revered him. He had a great handle in terms of just getting young players feeling confident and getting better. And they would listen to him. And why wouldn't they listen to him? He's Albert Pujols. Now, he's going to manage the Dominican Republic in the 2026 World Baseball Classic this coming spring. So, of course, Albert Pujols would manage the Cardinals, but perhaps it's better to do that at a different time, at a later time, because all managers come and go, except there's something personal here with Pujols and Oli Marmol. Pujols played for Marmol in 2022 and was impressed. He has said he literally, quote, loves Marmol, or what he says, I love Oli. He has repeatedly praised him. And an emotional Pujols even approached Marmol like right after the 2022 season and said that he hoped one day that he could coach for Marmol. That's how much he respected him. Not right away, because Pujols had already made commitments, and Pujols, like I said, is an honorable guy. He had already agreed to join the commissioner's office as an ambassador in charge of different projects, and he also agreed to join the MLB network. Now, there's no doubt that a percentage of Cardinals fans see nothing wrong with stabbing Marmol in the neck, even though Pujols doesn't want to, because Pujols isn't like that. And I'm not sure why some wouldn't understand that about him. I really do hope the Cardinals and Pujols will reunite at some point, because as I mentioned, all managers come and go, and that includes Oli. But Oli should go if there's a reason to say get out, not just because you have a percentage of Cardinals fans who just won't let it go. You don't throw someone into the Mississippi River with concrete blocks tied to their legs just because some fans hate them. Okay, the DeWitts have too much class for that. So Pujols to St. Louis is a non-starter right now, and down the road, who knows? Who knows? I know it ain't right now, though. So, like my Polish grandmother said to me, and then I'll say to you, go to bed, get some rest. Stop it. Anyway, that's all for now. Thanks for watching or listening, and feel free to leave your comments, even if they're hostile. You can give me hell. It's all good. No problem. Thanks for supporting all we do at STL Sports Central, and thanks to DraftKings for presenting the Bernie Show here on STL Sports Central. Thank you very much.